Welcome into the SEMO Sports edition of Hawks Nest. I'm Clay Harrell, joined by Leon Miller, and we have a lot to get into. It's a big weekend ahead in SEMO Sports. But Leon, how's it going today?
It's always going well. I'm at the Hawks Nest. I feel good.
Well, let's go ahead and jump right into football. They fell to Jacksonville State 21-3 last weekend. Couldn't get much going offensively. What has to happen this weekend to get a win over Tennessee Tech?
Yeah, so last weekend we had the lowest amount of total yards on offense that we had throughout the whole season. I don't know if that's because we didn't, quite implement the game plan. I think we've always had the same game plan, which is to pass a little bit, run heavily. We were giving the ball away for runs. We had 13 carries by Geno Hess, and we tried to get the running game going, but the passing game wasn't efficient enough for us to get the running game going. We couldn't create play action or do anything else. I think going forward, we have to get the passing game going in some type of way, shape, or form if we want to win, like any games against any high-ranking teams. The defense is solid, but the offense has to click, most definitely. Yeah,
you mentioned the defense played solid, and you give up 21 points to a Jacksonville State team, and it felt like if you just scored and maybe possessed the ball a little bit more, you probably had a chance to come out of the game with a win.
Yeah, they definitely could have came out with the win. Jacksonville State is one of the higher ranking teams. They're the best team in the OVC right now in terms of football status, and they have a good quarterback. So when you hold them to 21 points throughout the whole game, you're putting yourself in position to win. You just got to capitalize on those opportunities.
What's your prediction for this weekend? Last home game against Tennessee Tech.
Last home game against Tennessee Tech. I feel like the teams are pretty even right now in terms of the way outsiders look at the overall the records and things. But I think that SEMO is a better football team. Absolutely, they have the better defense. I think that we're going to have a heavy running game this week, honestly. So I think they're going to come out, run the ball, establish a little dominance early, and I think they'll take the home game.
Yeah, I agree. I think being it's the last home game, I think SEMO's going to come out. And I think they score 28, 35 points, and I think you see a pretty good show put on by the defense this week. But let's go ahead and move now into volleyball.
Yeah.
They just keep on rolling. They're 12-2 now, won 12 in a row.
Yeah.
Final regular season 2 games here against Murray State at home. How important is it for them to just – because they locked up the 3 seed, so how important is it for them to just finish on a good note, knowing you can't get the 1 seed just going into tournament play?
Yeah, you just want to stay solid at this point. You want to show other teams as you're rolling into the tournament that you're serious, and the SEMO has shown that they've won 10 games in a row.
12 now.
12 now. They're going to win 14 games in a row. So it's like when you're winning like that and other teams see that, they kind of start to plan differently around you. So you want to have that confidence going into the tournament, definitely.
Well, the top 2 seeds now, Jacksonville State and Morehead State, they play this weekend. They're both 14-0.
Yeah.
So you'll see what happens there. SEMO, obviously, with the 3 seed. It'll be interesting to see how that tournament plays out, but I think if you're SEMO, like you said, just kind of finishing on a good note, just getting into the tournament, winning 14 in a row, I agree with that prediction.
If you take away those few losses that we had early in the season, we 14-0 too. So
Jacksonville State.
Hey, so I think they will do good in tournament, though. They definitely want to establish their confidence going forward as well.
Defending tournament champions as well, and I agree. They'll finish on a good note. They'll move into tournament play, and they'll be red hot, and they'll be having to take down a pretty good team in either Jacksonville State, Morehead State, or whoever that comes up in the OVC tournament. But on the baseball side of things now, baseball gets EIU this weekend. What's got to happen? What's your prediction? SEMO's 4-2, EIU's 2-4 in league play.
Well, my prediction this week for baseball is they just have to get a little more consistent on the defense of the pitching and of things. We gave up a lot of runs in this last series in just one game. We gave up 21 runs, in the last series. So we have to establish that pitching, and get a little defense going. The offense, I believe, we're hitting. We have Tyler, who's batting, a high 3.
Tyler Wilbur's batting 347 this year, yeah.
347, We're bringing in RBIs and everything, but we have to get that pitching established. That's the way we're going to have to win going forward.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how the pitching is impacted going into this weekend because you mentioned the loss to SIU on Wednesday where they gave up 21 runs.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what the fatigue level's like for those pitchers. Mm-hmm. I think that's not something that you want to look at and focus on too heavily just because SIU is a good team. They're 18-1 now. They're 22nd in the nation in some rankings. So that's obviously a very good baseball team that you lost to. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how your pitching is affected going forward. I think offensively, Connor Basler has 13 RBIs to lead the team. So I think you're in a pretty good spot from that standpoint. But I think with baseball, it's a little bit different than some of these other sports. Like volleyball, you look at, you can win 2 games, and they probably should win 2 games.
Yeah.
Baseball, you're like, hey, if you can take 2 or 3 in just a series, you can kind of get away with the loss. And I think 2 or 3 is fair.
Yeah, I think 2 and 3 is fair, and I think that they could actually, they maybe could sweep the series. It depends on how the first 2 games go really in the series, but we don't got no scrubs on the baseball team. I think they'll be all right.
First 2 games will tell a lot in that series.
Yeah.
Let's go and kick it over to Ashley Ellis, who's with some members of the SEMO Softball team as they get ready for their home series with Morehead State.
Hi, I'm Ashley Ellis, and I'm here with junior Danina Martin and sophomore Anna Griffin. Danina, how do you feel about the team going into the second half of the season?
I think for the second half of the season, we've really come together. Our dugout is doing amazing, lots of talk, helping out everybody out on the defense. And I think our bats are really starting to come alive, which is really good for our team right now.
Anna, how does it feel having the alumni here this weekend on our home field?
I think it just adds to the great atmosphere that we have here at SEMO Softball, and I think that the more fans we have, the more energized we get. So I really think that this will be a great weekend for us, and I think having this many more fans and all these alumni that have forged the way before us, I think will really just push us over the edge and just get us to a great weekend.
That's the Inside Scoop of SEMO Softball. I'm Ashley Ellis. Back to you, Clay.
Thank you, Ashley, and good luck this weekend. But Leon, SEMO comes in 8-1 in OVC play. Yeah. Morehead State comes in at 0-11. What's your prediction?
Consistency is key. I think that, we've hit a stride in the OVC play. We've been talking about that for the last few weeks. I think the other team has hit a stride too. It's probably not the stride that they wanted to hit. So, if we do the math on that one, I'm just going to say, we sweep this series.
You found the brooms again this morning?
I found the broom again this morning, and it told me that the softball team was going to have another sweep this series. So, yeah.
So you'll see SEMO going to 11-1, Morehead going to 0-14?
Yeah, that's what I see.
Hey,
I see it clearly.
I see nothing wrong with that. That's all we have for now on the SEMO Sports Edition of Hawks Nest. No SEMO Sports Edition next week due to Good Friday. So we say have a great weekend.